Before you hear this story, imagine being abandoned where no human should survive, cold, hungry, forgotten. Yet destiny makes that abandoned soul return as the greatest blessing the world never expected. If you want more stories that shake your heart, bend your mind, and keep you awake at night, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now. She had no name when they left her there, only the sharp echo of snapping branches and the fading silhouettes of the people who were supposed to love her, but instead chose the cruelest path of escape, abandoning the newborn child deep within the wild forest where moonlight rarely touched the ground, a place whispered about in old tales as cursed, haunted, and unforgiving. Yet the forest, ancient and breathing, did not consume her. Instead, it sheltered her, guarded her with weathered bark and unseen spirits that moved between the leaves like guardians of fate. And as years passed, the child grew into a strange, ethereal existence, living among the forgotten paths, guided by uncanny instincts, an ability to hear distant whispers and sense dangers long before they emerged, a gift she did not understand but relied on like breath itself. And though loneliness wrapped around her like eternal winter, she survived, strengthened, shaped, sharpened by silence, until one dusk when a desperate search party stumbled upon her glowing eyes among the shadows, mistaking her for a ghost before realizing she was human. Barely clothed, barefoot, fragile yet radiating a wild resilience. They carried her back to civilization, a world she watched with a mix of fear and fascination, where light buzzed unnaturally, cars growled like beasts, and faces moved too fast to read. And doctors argued over how she survived for so long, baffled by her heightened senses, her strange awareness of things she shouldn't know, and her quiet ability to calm even the fiercest animals with a single touch. Soon, the news called her the Miracle Girl of Verdant Hollow, a title she did not understand but tolerated as people lined up to see her, to film her, to profit from her tragedy. All while she silently searched for the faces she could not forget, those who had left her to die, those whose voices lingered in her nightmares like broken lullabies. And as she adjusted to human society, a wealthy couple named Elias and Maren Hawthorne adopted her, showering her with warmth she mistrusted but wanted desperately to believe in, though beneath their smiles hid something carefully concealed. Her new home, a massive estate filled with antiques and locked rooms, pulsed with a strange energy. And every night she heard footsteps pacing the corridors even when everyone slept, whispers curling through vents, calling her name in a voice too familiar to ignore. The same voice that had once said, "Leave her, she's better off gone." And though she tried to forget it, the memory clawed back each time the wind howled. Soon, accidents began, mirrors shattering when she passed, animals fleeing from certain rooms, lights flickering whenever she grew frightened. And though doctors claimed trauma caused hallucinations, she knew something ancient tied itself to her fate, something that had followed her out of the forest. One stormy night, she found a hidden chamber behind a bookshelf, filled with photographs, hundreds of them, of children the Hawthorns had adopted before her, all missing, all unexplained, their stories erased and buried behind polished family portraits. And with trembling fingers, she flipped through files that revealed a chilling truth. The Hawthorns ran a secret organization trafficking children with rare abilities derived from strange bloodlines connected to forgotten forest tribes rumored to communicate with spirits, tribes wiped out decades ago, except for one surviving infant, her. Horror crashed over her as she realized the Hawthorns hadn't saved her. They had been waiting for her, searching for her, needing the last living child of the forest in order to complete an ancient ritual, promised to give them unnatural longevity. A ritual requiring her blood, her power, her life. Heart thundering, she fled through the mansion's twisting hallways as Maren appeared at the top of the staircase with a smile too wide to be human, whispering that this time they would not let her escape, that the forest spirits who saved her were powerless against the vow they made decades ago. And with Elias blocking the exit, chanting words dripping with malice, the walls trembled, lights burst, shadows expanded like hungry beasts. But she, remembering the songs the wind used to sing through the branches, called out to the unseen guardians who had watched over her since birth. And the ground beneath the mansion cracked, vines erupted from the floors like enraged serpents, and spectral figures, neither alive nor dead, rose from the earth, ripping apart the ritual symbols the Hawthorns had carved into the foundation, turning their screams into background noise as the spirits wrapped the girl in shimmering light and whispered that the time had come for her to understand her destiny. The mansion collapsed into ruins as she emerged outside, trembling but alive, an entire crowd gathering, watching in awe as the ground closed behind her like a sealing wound. And investigators later found no trace of Elias or Maren Hawthorne, no proof of their crimes, no evidence of the dozens of missing children, except the photographs she'd taken before fleeing. And though authorities dismissed her account as delirium, the people saw something divine in her survival, something unexplainable, something meant for a greater purpose. Communities rebuilt schools and orphanages inspired by her resilience. Families reunited because her interviews encouraged missing persons investigations to reopen. Lost children were found because she sensed things others could not. And slowly, the world realized the truth her birth family never understood. This girl, once abandoned, as worthless, forgotten, left to die, had become a blessing so profound that she changed the fate of countless others, transforming pain into healing, tragedy into hope, and fear into miracles. Yet the greatest twist came years later, when the forest she once called home sent her a final sign, a familiar lullaby carried on the wind, whispering that the spirits had chosen her, not because she was broken, but because she was meant to break the curse of generations. A girl, once abandoned, becoming the greatest blessing humanity never knew it needed.